Breaking Prince William just delivered a public statement so devastating that Keir Starmer literally froze mid-sentence during Prime Minister's questions. The future king didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His 11 words have ignited a constitutional firestorm that could topple the government within days, and what Labour tried to hide for 3 weeks is now exploding across Britain in the most spectacular political meltdown since Brexit. If you want to see how this ends, hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens in the next 72 hours will define British politics for the next decade. Here's what sparked the crisis. 8 days ago, Starmer announced what he called the National Housing Initiative. His plans sounded reasonable on paper. Build 300,000 affordable homes across Britain by seizing unused land through compulsory purchase orders. But buried on page 47 of the 200-page document was something that made royal officials physically recoil. The government had designated 14 historic sites for immediate seizure, including properties with direct ties to the royal family. One site in particular sent shockwaves through Kensington Palace, Duchy of Cornwall farmland in Devon that's been under royal stewardship for 700 years. Starmer wasn't asking permission, and he was taking it. But William wasn't about to stay silent. 3 days ago at 9:15 a.m. during what was supposed to be a routine visit to a Manchester homeless shelter, Prince William did something that shattered 50 years of royal protocol. Standing before a crowd of volunteers and local families, he delivered what palace insiders are calling the most politically charged statement from a royal since Queen Elizabeth's 1992 Anisharabilis speech. His exact words were chilling. When government policy prioritizes speed over heritage, we don't just lose land earned, we lose ourselves. The room fell silent. Cameras captured volunteers gasping. One woman in the front row started crying. William wasn't finished. He continued, his voice steady but unmistakably firm. True leadership protects what generations before us built, not destroys it for short-term political gain. No mention of Starr by name, no direct attack on Labour, but everyone in Britain knew exactly who he meant. Within minutes, the clip was trending globally. William versus Starr hit #1 on Twitter. The future king had just declared war on the Prime Minister. The response was swift and devastating. Within 2 hours, Conservative leader Rishi Sunak issued a statement praising William's profound wisdom and calling for an immediate parliamentary debate on the housing plan. Nigel Farage appeared on GB News, declaring that William had spoken for millions of Britons who are sick of watching their heritage destroyed by ideologues. Even Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey, normally allergic to royal politics, carefully noted that the prince had raised legitimate concerns about consultation processes. Starr was isolated. His own backbenchers were panicking. And at Prime Minister's questions that afternoon, everything exploded. Rishi rose to his feet with a smile that could cut glass. Will the Prime Minister confirm that he intends to seize royal land without consultation? And does he believe the future king has no right to defend Britain's heritage? Starmer stood. His face was flushed. His hands gripped the dispatch box so hard his knuckles turned white. And then he made the catastrophic error that may end his career. The Prince of Wales, Starr began, his voice rising with each word, does not set housing policy in this country. Parliament does. And if he or anyone in that family believes they can veto democratically elected decisions, they're living in a fantasy world that ended centuries ago. The chamber erupted. Conservative MPs roared in outrage. Labour MPs sat frozen in horror. The speaker looked stunned. Starmer had just publicly humiliated the future king on live television broadcast to millions. But what happened immediately afterward revealed just how badly Starmer miscalculated. Senior Labour MP Harriet Harman, a party veteran who served under every Labour leader since Neil Kinnock, was caught on camera literally putting her head in her hands. Former Home Secretary Ayet Cooper closed her eyes and mouthed what leap-rears confirm was, "Oh my God, no." Even David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary and one of Starr's closest allies, was seen shaking his head in disbelief. These weren't Starmer's enemies. These were his inner circle, and they knew instantly he'd committed political suicide. Within 90 minutes of that exchange, Starmer's office issued what they called a clarification, but what everyone recognized as a desperate attempt at damage control. The statement claimed the Prime Minister has the utmost respect for the Prince of Wales and the royal family, and that his comments were taken out of context. But the video was crystal clear. There was no context that could save him. Political commentator Andrew Neil tweeted, "You can't unring that bell." Starmer just declared war on the monarchy on live television and no, he's pretending it didn't happen. Pathetic. That tweet got 127,000 likes in 3 hours. Meanwhile, the British people who've watched their communities crumble under Labour's policies are living through absolute hell. Take James Harrison, a 64-year-old Royal Navy veteran from Portsmouth who served 22 years defending Britain. James returned from the Falklands, with a chest full of medals and shrapnel still lodged near his spine. Today, he lives in a council flat with black mold creeping up the walls because the local Labour council claims there's no money for repairs. His granddaughter has chronic asthma from the conditions. James applied for housing assistance 11 months ago. He's still waiting. "I bled for this country," he told reporters through tears. "And now I can't even get a safe place to live," while they talk about seizing royal land for political points. That interview went viral instantly. Meanwhile, Starmer and his cabinet ministers enjoy taxpayer-funded accommodations worth millions. We're talking luxury flats with 24-hour security, professional cleaners, and maintenance crews on standby. Starr himself lives in a Downing Street flat that underwent $30,000 in renovations last year alone, all paid for by the public purse. The contrast is so obscene, so morally grotesque that even hardline Labour voters are saying enough is enough. A YouGov poll released yesterday showed 68% of Britons believe Starmer's attack on William wasn't appropriate. Among voters over 50, that number jumps to 79%. This isn't just bad politics. This is a political death spiral happening in real time. And here's where it gets even worse for Labour. The party's own internal focus groups conducted in Birmingham, Liverpool, and Glasgow revealed something that has sent shockwaves through campaign headquarters. Working-class voters, the very foundation Labour claims to represent, are turning against them in droves, specifically because of this royal confrontation. One focus group participant, a 58-year-old former steelworker named Colin Davies, captured the sentiment perfectly. "I've voted Labour my entire life. My father voted Labour. My grandfather voted Labour, but I won't vote for a party that disrespects the crown. That's not what Labour used to be." His comments were echoed by 19 out of 22 participants in that session. Labour strategists are describing these results as apocalyptic. They're losing the very voters they thought they'd secured forever. The party that built its identity on representing ordinary working Britons is now seen as attacking the institutions those same Britons hold sacred. Trade union leaders are privately expressing alarm. Sharon Graham, General Secretary of the Union, reportedly told Labour officials in a heated phone call, "Our members respect tradition. They respect the monarchy. You're making us choose between Labour and our values, and you're not going to like how that turns out. When you've lost the unions, you've lost Labour's soul." But then something unprecedented happened that nobody saw coming. King Charles, who normally stays miles away from political controversy, broke his own protocol with a move so calculated it left constitutional experts speechless. Yesterday afternoon, at a private reception for Commonwealth ambassadors at Buckingham Palace, Charles did something he's never done in his 75 years. He publicly embraced William in front of 200 guests and cameras, placing both hands on his son's shoulders and speaking directly into his ear for nearly 30 seconds. Palace lip-readers later analyzed the footage. According to their assessment, Charles said, "You spoke for Britain," never apologized for defending what matters, that the symbolism was nuclear. The king was publicly backing his son's political intervention. Royal protocol demands neutrality. Charles just shattered it. And then came the statement from Buckingham Palace that changed everything. At 4:47 p.m., the official Royal Communications Office released just 2 sentences. The Prince of Wales's comments regarding heritage preservation reflect deeply held personal values shared across generations of the royal family. These concerns warrant serious consideration from all parties. Read between the lines. The king just told Parliament, "My son was right, and you need to listen." Constitutional scholars call it unprecedented. Professor Michael Jennings from Cambridge University described it as the most direct royal intervention in government policy since the 1936 abdication crisis. The optics are absolutely devastating for Starr. He's not just fighting William anymore. He's fighting the entire institution of the monarchy with the British public watching in horror. The domino effect has been catastrophic and swift. Financial markets reacted immediately. The pound dropped 1.2% against the dollar within hours of Starr's PM outburst, wiping £18 billion from Britain's market value. Investment firms cited constitutional uncertainty as investors fled UK assets. The FTSE 100 tumbled 89 points. Property developers, who are supposed to benefit from Labour's housing plan, saw their stock prices collapse a